Alright, this video has taken a long time to make, but I need to get it right. So today's video, I'm going to be talking very in depth about LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga and give you what I liked about it, what I didn't, and just discussing the choices they made for this game. Now if you don't know, LEGO's kind of been a big thing for this channel. My first proper big video for my size of YouTuber was me ranking the complete saga levels from worst to best. And I actually first did that because I saw LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga was announced and I wanted to get back into LEGO. So I went through all the LEGO games, even the non-Traveler's Tales ones like LEGO Island, and I saw if nostalgia held up for the old games and I played some of the newer ones, and I loved a lot of them. But then I took a break from LEGO games after playing them because I didn't want to get burned out. So now LEGO Star Wars Skywalker Saga is finally out, and it's nothing like what I expected. And after playing it, I was trying to find out why. And the conclusion I came to is it has a lack of LEGO identity. And throughout this video, I'll properly explain what I mean by that. But before I get into it, I did very much enjoy the game. I had a lot of fun with it, and I liked a lot of things about it. There's also a lot of things I didn't enjoy about it, so I'm going to let you know my thoughts on this game. And I also want to know if you feel the same way about it, or maybe I'm being too critical. Oh, and if you enjoy this video, give it a like, and obviously comment below your thoughts on the game, or whatever you want. And maybe subscribe. I kind of want to do more videos like this where I go in depth into games, movies, shows, and then find out what makes us love them so much, or something that kept us from enjoying a certain piece of media. So let me know if you enjoy this, and stay tuned for the end of the video where I'll discuss a lot more about the future of this channel. Alright, that's enough of an intro. Here we go into the loss of LEGO identity. So to start this off, let me explain what I mean by LEGO identity. If you don't know, I made up the word. LEGO identity isn't really a word, but I made it up first. But to me, it's the characteristics that make a game a LEGO game. And this is made up of the levels, the characters, and the puzzles. All three main parts of a LEGO game, and what I think is the strongest parts of LEGO games. So, I'm gonna first talk about the levels. See, this is my main problem with the game. In LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, the levels are just far too short. Especially the prequel levels, which I was most excited for. I wanted to see them in HD, and I wanted to see the improved levels from Complete Saga. However, I think it took a step backwards. The structure for the levels in this game is you get told where to go in the galaxy, you then find the place or person, you then talk to them, which will play a cutscene, and then it will tell you to go to another planet, to then talk to another person, and then you might actually enter the level, and the level will either consist of on-rails vehicle sections, or just fighting your way through hordes of enemies. And sometimes there'll be a boss at the end. Some events would happen between levels, even some bosses which should have never been a thing, because you can't replay that unless you make a new save file. But for the length of some of these levels, it's just shockingly short. Now, the older LEGO game levels weren't exactly long, though some of the newer games, like LEGO DC Supervillains, did have long levels. And I honestly preferred the longer levels, so it was interesting to see that it went back to shorter levels. In this game, there was an extreme lack of puzzles. See, for Complete Saga, most of the levels had a lot of puzzles. However here, I can barely remember any. There was some R2-D2 hacking minigame, but that was used way too much and was just very easy. Instead, the levels were like an action game. Just lots of enemies that you had to get through. While combat was a big part of old LEGO games, it was never the focus. It was always the puzzles. So to see this game's direction being like that of an action game is interesting. The issue, however, is the difficulty. Yes, the game is aimed at kids. It makes it very clear, even more so than the originals, I'll get onto that later. But just because it's a kid's game doesn't mean it has to be so easy. And it worked more in the old games because the puzzles were the focus. The difficulty came from the puzzles. They weren't that hard, but they were definitely more difficult than the puzzles here, or any combat here. And when your main focus is on combat, you want to have some difficulty or some consequence for not playing well, or getting hurt. See, LEGO games, you always respawn. Funnily enough, that's a part of LEGO identity. And it's one part that could have been changed for this. I think every game should have a difficulty option. But this game needed something because combat was actually very, very in-depth, which was very strange for a LEGO game. Now, graphics-wise, the game is stunning, and it's great to see a LEGO game look this good. They also completely overhauled LEGO combat, and it was awesome. I loved the combat in this game. There was some hidden combos for every character, a combination of buttons that resulted in some really cool moves, and it was all through experimentation. You would level up abilities to unlock cool new moves or upgrades. It was like a full-on action game. It was brand new and exciting, and each class had different playstyles and different things they could do. You were encouraged to experiment with your character, and you could do some really cool moves. Stuff that looked like it came from games like Devil May Cry or Bayonetta, or even The Force Unleashed. The combat in this game was incredible. However, what was the point of doing all this? The game encouraged you to experiment, but there was no benefit. Just by mashing the button, you achieved the same result as if you pulled off a crazy combo. And part of the problem was the enemies just died too quick to be able to even do these combos in the first place. The health of the enemies meant they were taken out in 1 to 2 hits when you upgraded it. You never really got to use these combos unless it was a boss fight. Again, this could have been solved with difficulty options. Speaking of bosses, they were so good. A massive improvement over all the other games. Thematically, they looked cool, great, fast combat. I mean, the combat in this game was perfect for bosses. And that was one of the weakest points for me in Complete Saga, was the bosses. Though, the lightsaber throw was a bit OP for killing the bosses in this game, or the minigun dude, he just shredded them. Now, the characters have always been the best part of LEGO games. Playing through one of your favorite IPs, in this case Star Wars, and being able to play or discover so many rich and fun characters as a planet, that was annoying. It's one of the more unique Star Wars planets from the sequel trilogy, and I would have preferred it to a lot of others. And right here is the simple case of bigger doesn't mean better. More stuff doesn't make the game better, and that sums up a lot of the game. There's a lot of planets to explore, but if there was less, more planets could be developed, bigger, more stuff to do, more iconic locations. Now, I don't want to talk too much more about planets since I could go on for a while about this, but I need to talk about one in particular, and that is Geonosis. Because this planet is just the worst. I'm sorry, it's so boring, and Geonosis in Star Wars isn't boring. But in this game, you can't get to any memorable areas, since it's locked in levels, like Count Dooku's lair or the arena. LEGO games before this still had you able to get to iconic areas even if they were a level, but here, you can't. Which means Geonosis is just hills, and like 3 small indoor areas. You can't get to any bottom land either, where the battles happened. And that's another point about the planets. Where are the fights? There are no enemies, or very rarely enemies, in these planets. No cool random creatures, just NPCs. And there isn't any iconic heroes or villains wandering around. And that's part of the LEGO charm, that's just not here anymore. I mean, everyone remembers the cantina, where all the characters roam around, and you can get into a bar fight, but that's not here. Instead, we have the game's collectibles, the Kyber bricks. Some are fun to get, and some are just lying around. I would have much rather had less but harder to get than to find them just everywhere. It really makes them feel not as special. But the side quests in this were a blast to play, and did what I think the game got most right: role-playing. You could really roleplay as a Star Wars character with this, especially the bounty hunter missions, having you track targets on other planets. Some quests had you go to multiple planets to find passwords. It was a lot of fun, and frankly, it was better than the game's levels. Which I think were an afterthought here, honestly. Which is a shame because the levels were kind of a lot of the standout parts of the LEGO games. So this game is at its best when you can play as any character you want, and just pretend you're in the Star Wars universe. Coruscant is amazing for this, and getting to the nightclub was such an awesome moment for me because, for one, it actually had platforming, something the levels changed to a click a button so you can't possibly fail. Another weird hand-holding choice. But the nightclub had platforming and was an area where we never got to really explore that in any other Star Wars game. And this is what I wanted most out of Skywalker Saga, and what I think the focus should have been on. I think the levels could have been better if they went against the movies. I know that sounds weird, but what I mean is if we got to take part of the massive Star Wars battles like in Battlefront. I mean, I'm not just pulling this out of thin air. It was on the front cover with Yoda in Geonosis, but we never got that. There was no spider droids, and if it didn't just strictly follow the movie, instead we could have taken a more imaginative route and let us play as clones more, or maybe even Sith levels. I'm getting a bit into the I wish this was in the game, so I won't go any further with this, but to sum this point up, I wanted more LEGO imagination, with puzzles, than strictly following the movie, or even just let us play more scenes. That was another thing. So many cutscenes should have been levels. Palpatine vs. Windu. Still wasn't a level. We all wanted this, since the Complete Saga. But it's still a cutscene. We did get Yoda vs. Palpatine at least, but still no Order 66. I mean, I get that one. But playing as, I don't know, the Jedi defending the temple would have been cool, but for some reason, and this is just kind of nitpicky, they toned down so much of the actual Star Wars in Star Wars. Character deaths were changed so they didn't die, like Jango especially. Which, yeah, it's a kid's game, but so was the old games. I don't know, this is just kind of weird to me. Maybe censoring just wasn't as restrictive as it was back then. A thing the game did get right though was the classic LEGO humor. Though this time, they actually had a few running gags that went through the whole saga, like Anakin's teddy bear that just showed up everywhere. I thought that was pretty funny. And they also heavily referenced Star Wars memes, which was interesting. It does kind of show the modern evolution of Star Wars and how it's seen compared to when the old games came out, was when the prequel trilogy were coming out, so there wasn't any of the memes back then. So to sum up, I think LEGO Star Wars Skywalker Saga suffers from a loss of LEGO identity, and I'll give this as simply as I can my overall thoughts on the game. LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga was a really fun game that let everyone play as their favourite well-known or obscure Star Wars characters, explore a lot of their favourite planets, fly their favourite Star Wars ships, and find and complete fun quests in the Star Wars universe, all while having a pretty in-depth and fun combat system. It felt like a pretty good Star Wars action game, but it didn't feel like a LEGO game to me. And maybe that's what the developers wanted. It still had the building, the collectibles, and the many characters, and some of the charm, but it didn't have the fun LEGO levels we all loved. When I ranked the complete saga levels, the comments from everyone talked about the memories they had playing the levels, the fun stuff they did, why this level was their favourite, and why they didn't like this one, what puzzles they got stuck on. But with this game, I don't think people have it for that one. There was not a lot of puzzles at all in the levels, it was a hack and slash most of the time. And the levels were so short that I couldn't even say what was my favourite, and half the time I didn't even know if I was in a level or in free roam, since some bosses are free roam only, and some areas are level only. It was very confusing. The platform was also dumbed down to make it impossible to fail pretty much, which I always had fun watching my friend fail platforming, especially in the Darth Vader level in Complete Saga. But that wasn't here at all. It felt like the whole game was on rails, with some secrets to find, but removing the platforming, removing a lot of the puzzles, they just got rid of what made a LEGO game a LEGO game. But then they kept some of the things they could have evolved from, mainly the difficulty. The enemies don't even hurt you in this game, especially when you upgrade your health. So by removing the puzzles, by making enemies not even able to kill you, sometimes they can't even hit you standing still, I get it, Stormtrooper aim. They took out a lot of what really made me enjoy LEGO games, and a lot of the fun was lost here. The game feels like it's two games, a Star Wars action game and a LEGO game. But an action game needs some difficulty to make anything you do matter, and a LEGO game needs puzzles to make up for the lack of difficulty. Kids games don't need to be so easy. Fortnite, the biggest game for kids, isn't an easy game. So this could have had some or any difficulty. But this seems to be the direction LEGO games are going, and I get it. They made the same kind of LEGO games for ages now. They want to do something different. But if this is the direction of future LEGO games, there do need to be some changes to be made. Difficulty options would be great, and all ages of players could find enjoyment. And free the platforming again, that was one of the biggest sins. I still enjoyed this game, but I was disappointed with a lot of it. Who knows what's coming next? I'm hoping for a Middle-earth LEGO game with the new engine. I think it could be incredible with an open-world Middle-earth that instead of multiple planets could be as detailed as ever. I mean, the one in LEGO Lord of the Rings was already amazing, so it would only be better. But one thing they definitely need is to bring back that LEGO identity and find a way to evolve the gameplay while still maintaining the reasons we all love LEGO games. But wait, there is still hope. Well, for PC players, since one person called Jedi Josh has been making mods to improve the game. The first mod he made was a jetpack mod, letting you customize the bounty hunter's jetpack, the height and speed, making you really feel like a bounty hunter. They also added an NPC spawner, letting you have those fights we wanted, up to 1,000 characters that can be spawned for massive Star Wars battles. You can even make them fight each other and make your own boss fights. They even made a working character customizer with all parts, another part of LEGO identity that was missing from the game. And apparently they're improving the AI to have some challenge and be able to hit you in the future. I wish it wasn't just PC players that could have access to this, but it'll keep me playing the game and many others. Maybe eventually it will fix a lot of the problems, but for now, I guess we just have to wait for what LEGO games will be coming next. Thank you for watching. This video has taken a while to make because I just had so many thoughts about this game. LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga was a big game for this channel, and so was LEGO. I mean, I don't know how long it'll be till the next LEGO game. Probably a while, so I want to talk about what's coming up on this channel since I haven't uploaded in a while. I really enjoyed making this analysis, rant, review, critique video, and I want to do more of that, but not just for games, for TV shows, movies, and more. So there's going to be a lot more of that on the channel. So let me know if you enjoyed this kind of video as much as I enjoyed making it. I also have some more game related videos similar to the challenges I did, but slightly different. And I also have a Minecraft channel, since the Minecraft content I wanted on this channel didn't really fit on this channel, so I made a channel exclusively for Minecraft 100 Days movies. So if you enjoy Minecraft, you can look up CyberBlockY, or check the links in the description. Yeah, and I renamed this channel to CyberLocky. I don't know, I think it just sounds better. I've also noticed this channel, while I've enjoyed the content I made for it, it's a bit messy overall. Like, there's rankings, then there's Riddler videos, then there's VR stuff, so I want to clean it up a bit and focus on less types of videos and more on higher quality stuff. That means eventually I'll be able to upload better, more regularly, and just higher quality. So the videos from now on will be like this, analysis, talking about games, shows, movies, and deep diving into what makes them so good, so bad, and more, and also the new challenge type videos. So yeah, the channel's going to be a lot different from what it is now. And as always, let me know your thoughts on the game below. Maybe you agree with me, or maybe you think I'm way too critical, or wrong. Or maybe you agree with some of my points and disagree with others. Either way, let me know below. And since this video now has more endings than Return of the King, I'm actually going to end the video. But as always, thank you for watching, and this has been CyberLocky. Until next time.